meant for the third semester BA English main students of the colleges of the University of Calicut. And our discussion is on the fifth section of the course book, English Grammar and Usage, edited by Dr. Murali Krishnan TR and Srija G. This section is titled English Morphology. So I will be completing this chapter in this discussion. I'll tell you how we go forward. So initial part of this lecture, I'll be defining what we mean by morphology, English morphology. Subsequent sections, we will be discussing and defining morpheme. We have to define what is a morpheme. Then we have to understand what is a word, or there are certain criteria for wordhood. We will discuss the criteria for wordhood, and there are 6 factors that govern the wordhood of any word. And after that, we will be discussing more about the morpheme, and we will discuss what is a zero-morpheme. Then we will also discuss free morpheme, bound morpheme, and many other concepts related to morpheme. After that, we have to discuss word formation. So this section 5 in the course book is about word formation. English morphology refers to how words were invented or origin in the English language. So we have different ways of word formation. Word formation refers to making words. There are many methods of word formation, making new words in the English language. We understand that every language is influenced by many other languages, and we also understand that most of the languages of the world come from an ancestral language, and that ancestral language can be like a father. It is, of course, just like a father or a mother language, and we have the Indo-European family of languages. All right. So in this section, we discuss the different ways of word formation, and we as we go forward, we see that there are 9 methods of word formation. Words are made in the English language in different ways, and they are, of course, 9, and they are affixation, compounding, inflection, derivation, clipping, acronyms, back formation, eponyms, and blending. So we will discuss each of the methods of word formation in this section. So let us look at uh, the introduction. Let us understand what is morphology. So morphology is the study of the patterns of word forms. At the functional level, it studies how the words are formed, where they originate from, what their grammatical forms are, what is the function of prefixes and suffixes in the word formation process, and how and why the word forms change. It can divide the word into parts and establish relationship between them. So we understand that we have uh, language is, of course, a system of signs, and each sign can have different levels, like the phonemic level, the morphemic level, and the syntactic level. So a morpheme, what is a morpheme? We know what a phoneme is. We understand that phoneme is the smallest sound unit. So if phoneme is the smallest sound unit in any language, morpheme is a minimal grammatical unit in a grammatical system of a language. A morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit. All right. So we are in page number 77. A morpheme is a minimal grammatical unit in a grammatical system of a language. They can also be defined as the minimal units of meaning out of which words are composed in various ways. For example, the word television has two morphemes, tele and vision. A morpheme is a distinct linguistic form which is not divisible or analyzable into its constituents or smaller forms or units. So we have understood what morphology is. The study of morphemes is morphology. The study of words is morphology. And the study of word formation, making of words is we are right now. That's what we discuss at the moment. Now, okay, we have a lot of words, we have a lot of morphemes, and we have to, and when we study about morphemes or words, we need to keep in mind, we need to remember the fact that every word, each word has a lot of qualities that make it a word. So we are right now just looking at what are the formal criteria for wordhood. It could be a question for examination. What are the formal criteria for wordhood? Why is a word a word? And we understand that a word is a word because of six factors. And what are the six factors that make a word a word? A word can be defined linguistically as an element which exhibits both internal stability and external mobility. So this is the very formal definition of a word. A word can be defined linguistically as an element which exhibits both internal stability and external mobility. A word has, of course, an internal stability, that it has a meaning, it gives us a meaning. External mobility, say the word can, of course, it is flexible, we can just uh, add more linguistic elements into it, like we have grace, disgrace, graceful, gracefully, disgracefully. All right. Similarly, we can also just fix the word in maybe a group of more words. Say we can say that behaved in a graceful manner. He behaved in a graceful manner. Similarly, we have a lot of formal criteria to consider a word, and let us discuss the formal criteria for considering a word. And we have six factors. Let us look at each of the six factors of formally considering a word. Number one is orthographic factor. Orthographic factor refers to the very writing. The word can be written. You have a word like grace, and in English, grace, the word is written G with the letters of the alphabet Grace, grace. All right. So a word has orthographic quality, that it can be just written down. And because a word has the orthographic quality, the orthographic strength, or because a word can be written down, it can be just symbolically represented with alphabets, letters of the alphabet. We can say that the phoneme, all right, this group of phonemes or this morpheme is a word. So the first formal criteria for wordhood is orthographic, right? That is, this word has to be just written down. It should be written down. All right. Now let us move forward to the second formal criteria for wordhood. The second formal criteria for wordhood is semantic. Semantic refers to the very meaning. A word must have a meaning. If the word doesn't have a meaning, all right, it should have some kind of a meaning. And when it has a kind of meaning, we can say that it has the quality to be a word. Then we have the phonological aspect. Phonological aspect refers to, all right, every word is made with phonemes, right? The phoneme is the smallest sound unit. So grace, the word, is made up of phonemes such as g, r, a, s, grace, grace, grace. So the third criteria for wordhood is phonological. So far we have discussed the three criteria for wordhood: orthographic criteria, semantic criteria, and phonological. Next is uh, phonological. When we discuss phonological, we again have to understand, okay, phonological, a word will have, of course, a lot of right phonemes in it. All the phonemes are not equally important. There will be syllables in it. Say, for example, we have examination, 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 academic, 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 right? So we understand that a word has a lot of phonological aspects like phonemes in it, syllables in it, stress in it. Then it has, of course, a peculiar accent or rhythm in it. So that is the phonological, right? So the three criteria for wordhood: orthographic, semantic, phonological. Now the fourth criteria is morphological. Morphological. What does it refer to? Morphological refers to a word has an internal cohesion. A word has an internal cohesion and is indivisible by other units. A word may be modified only externally by the addition of suffixes and prefixes. So here, okay, we have a word like grace, and grace is, of course, a morpheme. It gives us a meaning, and that aspect is what is morphological, right? It is a morpheme, right? And it more grace is, of course, right, the root. It is the morpheme. And uh, we can, of course, maybe add other morphemes to it, and we can say disgrace. Maybe we can say full, we add full, graceful. All right, so that is the morphological aspect. And next is, of course, the grammatical aspect. Say, for example, the the word, the word can have a lot of grammatical aspects, like a word can be sometimes a noun. It can be in any of the parts of speech. It could be sometimes a noun, it could be sometimes a verb, it can be sometimes an adverb, it can be an adjective, it could be any, it can have any grammatical labels, right? A word, say, maybe it is the subject, maybe it is the object, all right? It is, of course, the direct object, indirect object, it is the verb, it is, all right? So a word has, of course, a grammatical function. And the next is the syntactic aspect of a word. A word has syntactic aspect. What does it mean? It means a word has a role in a sentence. We say, he spoke to me in a graceful way. He spoke to me in a graceful way. So when we say he spoke to me in a graceful way, we have that word there, grace, grace there, graceful there, and we understand that every word will go into a sentence. And that aspect of a word to go into a sentence is what we mean by syntactic, right? Syntactic. So now we can just conclude this section by commenting the fact that a word is a word just because a word has six aspects. A word has orthographic quality, a word has semantic quality, a word has phonological quality, morphological quality, grammatical quality, and syntactic quality. So these are the six qualities that give wordhood to any words in the English language. All right. So this is the very basic notion we need to keep in mind when we study morphology. So we study English morphology. We know what a morpheme is. We know that morphology is the study of words. We also know that morphology is the study of making words. Now, we have different methods of word formation. 9 methods we'll be discussing, but before that, we have to understand another concept, morpheme. What is a morpheme? Okay, a morpheme may or may not have a meaning, but a morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit in a language. And we have different concepts like zero morpheme, free morpheme, bound morpheme, and we have to define. First, we define zero morpheme. Okay, what is a zero morpheme? A zero morpheme is a morpheme which can just uh, it has of course a meaning, but it has maybe it has more than one meaning. All right, say for example, when we say sheep, 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 all right, it has on one level the meaning of singular. A sheep can be just a single animal, one animal, but the other side it can be maybe more than one animal. So these two meanings can be conveyed by the word sheep. Similarly, fish, the word fish is a morpheme. Fish can also refer to a single fish on one side. It can also refer to maybe more than one fish. So that singular meaning and the plural meaning we have in the morpheme fish, in the morphemes fish and sheep. And the a zero morpheme is a morpheme which has no phonological representation. Say, for example, we say sheep, we understand that it is an animal, but that meaning of more than one animal or that meaning of plurality is also in it, and that aspect of having no phonological representation is what we mean by seromorphy. Okay, so we have page number 78, and in page number 78 we can just come to that. We have the morphemes, sheep and fish, and these two have singular and plural meanings. In plural words like sheep and fish, we have two morphemes in each word. The first morpheme in each case has phonological representation, but the second one has no phonological representation. This is called zero-morpheme. So a zero-morpheme is a morpheme which has no phonological representation. The meaning is conveyed, but no specific form for conveying that peculiar meaning. That is zero-morpheme. Now we have next concept, that is free morpheme. What is a free morpheme? Okay, let us define. Free morphemes are those morphemes that can occur alone as independent words. Very easy. Say for example, we have a number of words like dog, cat, rat, swim, drive, red, blue, yellow. Okay, so all these words can stand alone. So words which can stand alone can be called free morphemes. Free morphemes. All right. And now we have what is known as bound morpheme. What are bound morpheme? Okay. So bound morphemes are morphemes that cannot occur as independent words. Say, for example, you have the word rearrange. Rearrange. Arrange can stand alone, and we can say that arrange is a free morpheme. But in rearrange, re cannot stand alone. So we can say that re is a bound morpheme which is depending on arrange the root. So a bound morpheme is a morpheme which cannot convey a meaning on its own, but which goes along with the root or the free morpheme. So free morpheme can accept or is open to take bound morphemes. And we say, okay, I will utter free morphemes first. Grace, disgrace. This is bound morpheme. Okay, grace, graceful. Full is bound morpheme. Okay, so now we know seromorph, free morph, and bound morpheme. All right, so seromorph is a morpheme which has no phonological representation. Okay, free morpheme is a morpheme which can occur alone and which can be an independent word. Bound morphemes are morphemes which are connected to, attached to, okay, free morphemes. And now let us look at some of the characteristics of morphemes. Page number 79, we are in. What are the characteristics of morphemes? What are the characteristics of morphemes? Okay, morphemes have 5 characteristics. Number one, a morpheme is internally indivisible. A morpheme cannot be divided again. A morpheme is internally indivisible. All right, say grace. Grace cannot be further divided. And when you divide, if at all you try to divide grace further, you don't get any meaning. But gracefully, gracefully you can divide. How? Grace plus full plus ly, grace plus full plus ly, gracefully. So we can say that in gracefully you have 3 morphemes: grace, free morpheme, full bound morpheme, Lee bound morpheme. Okay, so first characteristic of a morpheme is it is internally indivisible. Number two, it is a meaningful unit. Grace, we get a meaning. Kind, we get a meaning. Kindness, kind plusness. All right. Now the third characteristic of morpheme, it has internal stability since nothing can be interposed in a morpheme. Yeah, grace. It cannot, you cannot just fix anything into it. It is just stable. Grace, it's stable, right? So nothing can be interposed in a morpheme, right? And fourth aspect of morpheme, it is externally transportable. It is externally transportable. Say you can say that you can fix that word anywhere. Like okay, this is something. Yeah, you did it with grace, right? He spoke to me with grace, right? Okay, so then the fifth aspect, it has a potential mobility of free distribution occurring in various contexts. All right. Say for example, this can be used anywhere. Okay, a word you can use the word anywhere. Like yeah, I met a man in the street. Uh, he had grace. He had a lot of grace, right? Or else you can say that our class teacher has a lot of grace in his manners. All right. So, or even you can say that, yeah, look around. It's a bright day. There is grace in the air. There is so much of grace in the, all right, in the day. The day, it's a day of grace, right? Or rather, you can say God is grace, right? Look at that. This word can be used anywhere, of course, maybe in a peculiar, meaningful context, right? So now we have seen the 5 aspects or characteristics of morpheme. We studied what a morpheme is. We know what a seromorpheme is. We know what free morphemes are. We also know what bound morphemes are. Now we have to move forward and understand that a, a word has, of course, rather a morpheme has certain other aspects like the root. What is the root of a word? Okay, a root of a word is the part that is always present, sometimes with some modifications. Like you would say, okay, drive, drive. You will say driving, drives, driven, speak, spoke, speaking, spoken. So that very basic form is the root. Okay, and it can also be called the stem. It can be the very base. All right, and uh, let us just look at some examples and understand root, base, and stem. All right, so we have reliable. Okay, reliable is base, and unreliable is, of course, unreliable. Okay, you have rely is the root, rely is the root, and reliable is the base. Okay, and unreliable, un can be something like a prefix, right? Okay, so similarly we have a word like geography. Geography, geo plus graph. All right, so geo plus graph. All right, geography. Okay, similarly we have bathroom. Bathroom, bath is an independent root, and room is again an independent root. So you combine two independent roots and you get a new word, that is bathroom. All right, so this way we can understand that, okay, words have the root, the stem, the base, and now we know that root of a word is the part that is always present, sometimes with some modification. Stem of the word is that part to which the last morpheme is added. Okay, and the base, on the other hand, is a unit to which any affix can be added. All right, so now we have an idea of root, stem, and base. And with these basic notions, we have to move forward. And we are just now looking at the different methods of word formation. So the first method of word formation is affixation. Affixation is a process of making new words in English, in which we make new words with the help of prefixes and suffixes. Prefixes and suffixes. Prefixes are maybe morphemes or other certain um, bound morphemes we just added to the very root of a word, or the stem of a word, right? So we learn right now we are learning different methods of word formation. First, let us look at affixation. So what is affixation? Or rather, let us discuss what are affixes. Affixes are recurrent formative morphemes of words other than roots. Affixes are of three types: prefixes, infixes, and suffixes. So, what are prefixes? Prefixes are the morphemes which are fixed before the root, like dis, disadvantage, un, unhelpful, okay, unable, immeasurable, unforgivable. All right, so that element which comes before, in front of the root, can be what is known as prefix, and suffix is the morpheme that is after the root. Like we have advantage, advantages, okay, grace, graceful, okay, measure, measurable, forgive, forgivable. All right, so unforgivable, we have both prefix and suffix. Un is prefix, and able is suffix. So we make new words with the help of prefixes and suffixes, and this process of making new words with prefixes and suffixes and infixes is known as affixation. Okay, and we have two types of affixes. We have affixation like derivational suffixes and inflectional affixes. Okay, so derivational suffixes and inflectional affixes. Let us understand derivational and inflectional affixes. The main difference between the two is that derivational affixes are added to morphemes to form new words that may or may not be the same part of speech, and inflectional affixes are added to the end of an existing word for purely grammatical reasons. Very easy to understand. Derivational affixes make new words. Inflectional affixes contribute to grammatical aspect. Okay, say for example, we have wait, waits, John waits for Sheila, and that yes is what is known as an inflection, and it is grammatical. Similarly, i walk I walk in the beach now. I walk in the beach now. I walked in the meadow near the church yesterday. Walked. That ed is again inflectional affix. All right. And similarly, I am walking. That ing is again inflectional affix. Okay. Similarly, you say, I have a table, but they have tables. That plural suffix is again inflectional affix. So we have two types of affixes, derivational affixes and inflectional affixes. What are derivational affixes? Derivational affixes are words which are new words. All right, and inflectional affixes are, of course, words, maybe the same word, just indicating a different specific grammatic function. All right. Now we just have, of course, two more types of affixes. Like we can say that we have class changing suffixes and class maintaining suffixes. Okay, class changing. Say for example, maybe a word is just an adjective. Okay, and when we add a suffix or prefix to that or an affix to that, okay, the adjective becomes a noun, or rather the noun becomes maybe, all right, or the verb becomes an adverb. So if the category, grammatical category of the word is changed, maybe from adjective to noun, maybe from adjective to adverb, or from noun to adjective, we can say that that is a class changing suffix. It is a, all right, derivational suffix, which is of course class changing. So we have two types of derivational suffixes, class changing suffixes. Say for example, we say we have gentle. Gentle is adjective. He is gentle. He is gentle. All right, that's adjective. But when you add ness, it becomes a noun, and you say his gentleness is very praiseworthy. His gentleness, look at that. So gentle becomes, gentle the adjective becomes gentleness the noun, and it is class changing. Okay, and class maintaining is quite simple. Maybe a word is a noun and another suffix is added, and the noun continues to be a noun. Okay, we have one word which is a noun, we are adding a affix to it, and it is again a noun. Say for example, you say child. Child is a noun, you add hood to that, childhood is again a noun. So that is class maintaining suffixes. So remember, two types of suffixes, Two types of derivational suffixes, class changing, adjective become noun, maybe noun become a verb, or other adjective noun become maybe okay, and adjective. All right, so class changing and class maintaining, noun continues to be a noun. House, houseful. Assembly, assemblage. All right, so remember that. And now we have this way we can make new words, and we can say that we have uh, words like freedom, free plus dumb, freedom, manhood, man plus hood, then dim plus ness, dimness, coward plus ice, cowardice. Okay, so all these new words, freedom, manhood, dimness, cowardice, etc., are made with suffixes, and they don't change the class. Okay, the noun continues to be a noun. The new word is also a noun, so we can say that they are class maintaining suffixes. All right, so we have seen the first word formation, that is affixation. New words are made with prefixes or suffixes. Now we are just moving forward to the second word formation, and the second word formation is what is known as compounding. Compounding. Okay, so what is compounding? Compounding is a word formation in which we are combining two words. Okay, in which we are combining two words. Say for example, we have uh, it could be maybe a combination of noun plus noun, or it could be a combination of noun plus verb. It could be a combination of verb plus verb. It can be a combination of adjective plus adjective. It could even be a combination of, all right, it could even be a combination of verb and particle. So compounding is the second process of word formation in which two words are combined to make a new word. We say wind plus mill, windmill. Girl plus friend, girlfriend. Boy plus friend, boyfriend. Boyfriend is noun plus noun. Acid rain, noun plus noun. Blood test, noun plus noun. Newspaper, noun plus noun. Similarly, we make new word, verb plus noun. Okay, a new word. Cut is a word which is a verb. Throat is a noun. Combined, cutthroat. It is a new word. Pick is a verb. Pocket is a noun. Pickpocket. Chewing is a verb. Gum is a noun. Chewing gum. Okay, we study the second method of word making, compounding. Compounding is a method of word making in which two words are combined. Now, it can be noun plus verb. Sun is a noun, rise is a verb, sunrise. House is a noun, keeping is a verb, housekeeping. Bus is a noun, stop is a verb, bus stop. Verb plus verb, make believe, hear, say. Similarly, we have adjective and noun. Fast plus food, fast food. Black plus board, blackboard. Green plus house, greenhouse. Particle and noun. Bystander, bystander. Okay, by plus stander. Overcoat, over plus coat. So this is a new method of making new words. We are combining one noun to another. Thank you, Shibli. Good morning to you. Thank you for your presence there. I'm just giving a class to my students. This is an online class, but my most of the students are not here, but they can listen anytime. It will be there in my channel. So I'm just recording it, right? Okay. So we study uh, English morphology, and English morphology is about word formation, and We discuss how new words are formed in English. First is, of course, with affixation. Number two is compounding. Compounding is combining two words, noun plus noun, verb plus noun, noun and a verb, verb plus verb, adjective and a noun, particle and a noun, verb and a particle. And of course, similarly, we have a lot of new words. Okay, carbon date, side see, gate, crash, fine tune, outlast, grass green, duty free, ice cold, man eating, breathtaking, colorblind, bittersweet, icy cold, good looking. Okay, so now we have studied two methods of word formation. We move forward to the third method of word formation, that is inflection. Inflection is the third method of word formation. And what is it? Inflection involves changes in words, and in most cases they are transparent and consistent. The inflected words are the nouns, pronouns, verbs and adjectives, and in English they are always suffixes. A few details about this are already discussed in affixation. Okay, so we have the third method of word formation, that is inflection. And we have with the help of inflection we can indicate plurality, we can indicate genitive case, we can indicate possessive case, right? Similarly, we can also indicate different tense forms such as the present tense singular, then the past tense with ed, then progression with ing. Okay, all this is making new word with the inflection. All right, now we move on to the fourth method. So we have discussed three methods of word formation so far: affixation, compounding and inflection. Now we come to the fourth method of word formation, that is derivation. And it's very easy to understand. Derivation refers to making new words with the help of prefixes and suffixes. Okay, that is again affixation. All right, we are in page number 84. We are in page number 84. Okay, derivation. I'm reading from the text. One of the reasons why English language remains vibrant is because of the capacity to derive for the sake of word formation. English has an extensive derivational morphology. Derivational affixes are either prefixes or suffixes. Inflectional affixes are always suffixes in English. If there is one or more derivational suffix going along with the inflectional one, the latter must also follow any derivational marking. Hence, careless is possible, but careless is not. Okay, hence, careless is possible. In English, there are many words with a single unit of meaning. These words are called monomorphemic words. Monomorphemic words. Okay, and however, there are lots of English words that consist of two or more units of meaning. These words are called bimorphic words or polymorphic words, right? So we have to be familiar with two concepts: monomorphemic words and bimorphemic or polymorphemic words. Okay, means a monomorphemic word is a word which can convey one meaning. Bimorphemic or polymorphemic, multiple meaning. All right. So let us look at some of the examples for derivation. Derivation is a method of word making in which you depend on prefixes. Say, for example, with prefix anti, we have anti-war. With prefix co-worker. With prefix non-believer. With prefix stepfather or stepmother. With prefix superman, superstructure. Okay, and similarly we have a lot of new words formed with prefixes and suffixes. Prefixes again: disloyal, impossible, overabundant, ultrasonic. Then with the suffixes, new words with suffixes: dom, kingdom, ess, hostess, hood, parenthood, stir, gangster, full, helpful. Okay, now we can move on to the, so far we have studied affixation, compounding, inflection, derivation. Now the fifth word formation is clipping. Let us understand what is clipping. Okay, clipping is a method of word formation in which we are just making a new word from, of course, right, a maybe something which is of course right, which is already there. So clipping is the result of deliberately dropping part of a word, usually either the end or the beginning, or less often both, right, while retaining the same meaning. Say for example, we have advert. From advert comes, maybe advert is the result. Advert comes from advertisement, right? And hackney, from hackney comes hack. From microphone comes mic. So clipping is a word formation in which a new word comes from an older word. Say for example, you have tarpaulin, tap. Rehabilitation, the new word is rehab. Facsimile, the new word is fax. Fanatic, the new word is fan. Mitten, the new word is mit. Hamburger, burger. Adventure, venture. Refrigerator, fridge. Influenza, flu. So very easy to understand. Clipping is a kind of word formation in which a new word is formed from an already existing word, like flu from influenza, fridge from refrigerator. The original word is just shortened, all right? That is clipping. Now the sixth method of word formation is acronym. Very easy to understand. Acronym is, all right, making a new word with the initial letters of a group of words, like you have the uh, W, World Trade Organization, like we have of course WTO, World Trade Organization. Then we have the NBA, National Basketball Association, NBA. Then we have all right, many words like radar, AIDS, all right, UNESCO, UN, United Nations, right? Yeah, then we have so many, right? Okay, then let us just come to the seventh method of word formation, that is back formation. Okay, what is back formation? Back formation is a method of word formation in which a word of one type is reduced to another form. Slowly but significantly, this become a pattern in usage. Say, for example, donate from donation, opt from option, emote from emotion, housekeep from housekeeper. Okay, then we have editor, edit, sculptor, sculpt, swindler, swindle. All right, so bookie, bookmaker, hanky, handkerchief. All right, so we have a new word resulting from an already existing word, right? And the new word is of course a smaller one. Say for example, donate from donation, opt from option, emote from emotion, then edit from editor. Okay, that is back formation. All right, now we move on to the eighth method of word formation, that is eponyms. What are eponyms? Eponyms are created from proper nouns or names. An eponym is a person, place, or thing from which something takes its name. The word eponym comes from the Greek word eponymous, which meant given as a name. And we have examples like boycott, then we have diesel, guillotine, hyacinth, malapropism, Casanova, etc. So eponyms are word formation. It's a method of word formation in which a new word is formed from, of course, maybe a name, the name of a person. Like diesel comes from the name of a person, guillotine comes from the name of a person, hyacinth comes from the name of a person. Okay, so we have different methods of word formation. Then we come to the next method, that is blending. Blending is another method of word formation in which we make a new word from, of course, uh, two words. We have two words and we are combining parts of two words into one. That's blending. Say we have breakfast and lunch, we have brunch. Okay, television and broadcast, telecast, information and entertainment, infotainment. Then you have smog from smoke and fog. Then we have motel from motor and hotel. Then we have infomercial, infomercial from information and commercial, informational. Then we have simulcast from simultaneous and broadcast. Then we have transistor from transfer and resistor. Then we have skyjacker from sky and hijacker. Then we have permafrost from permanent and frost. All that we have in page number 85 in our course book. So we have so far discussed 9 methods of word formation: affixation, compounding, inflection, derivation, clipping, uh, acronyms, back formation, eponyms, and blending. Okay, now we have some exercises there. Let us just solve the exercises in page number 86 and 87. We'll come to 86. All right, attempt the following questions. Fill in the appropriate form of the word. Analysis, verb, analyze. Okay, and uh, adverb, analytically. Okay, identify, identity, verb is identify, adjective is identifiable. Similarly, analysis, analyze, analyzable. All right, analyzable. So analysis, analyze, analyzable, analytically. Identity, identify, identifiable, identifiably. All right, then you have editor, edit, editorial, editorially, economy, economize, economical, economically. Then we have uh, concept, conceptualize, conceptual, conceptually. Then we have okay, base word connect, negative prefix disconnect, opposite meaning. All right, disconnect. All right, connect, disconnect. Okay, important, unimportant, literate, illiterate, considerate, disconsiderate, reversible, irreversible, practical, impractical, violent, non-violent. Okay, now section 2, add the correct prefix to make a word that fits the context of each sentence. Because the envelope was misaddressed, it was delivered to the wrong house. Because the envelope was misaddressed. Okay, next one, because of a deformation in the bone, the doctors did surgery to correct the part that was formed wrong. Third one, when students collaborate on a project, they work together on it. Contraceptives work against the likelihood of pregnancy. Okay, contraceptives work against the likelihood of pregnancy. Number five, people who are hypersensitive to cold often do not like the winter. All right, fifth one, people who are hypersensitive to cold often do not like the winter. Now add the suffix to the base word. Bicycle plus ist, bicyclist. Dream plus ILY, dreamly. Location, reliable, spacious. Use the meaning of the suffixes to help you fill the correct form of the italicized word in each sentence. If you are without shoes, you are shoeless. The quality of being sharp is sharpness. The state of being child is called child. The state of being a child is called childhood. The state of owning something is termed ownership. To do something in a cheerful manner is to do it cheerfully. All right. So these are the exercises in page number 86 and 87. So with that, we come to the end of the discussion of section 5 on English morphology. And let us just sum up. In this section, we studied the morphemes. All right, then we studied definition of a morpheme. What is a morpheme? We also studied the formal criteria for wordhood, six criteria: orthographic, semantic, phonological, morphological, grammatical, and syntactic. We then studied what is a zero-morpheme. Then we studied free morpheme, bound morpheme, and afterwards we studied 9 methods of word formation: affixation, compounding, inflection, derivation, clipping, acronyms, back formation, eponyms, and blending. So, thanks a lot for listening. Go through the text again and again and prepare very well for the examination. Thanks a lot for being here. Listen to the lecture, go through the text, do well in your examination. All the best to you.